Hi, my name is Vishelle, and I came across Mike on YouTube showing some historical information about how, we're not all from Africa. And of course, it got my attention as I've been doing my genealogy research for a little while, but I hit a brick road and I needed more help. So the consultation that I had with Mike, it was great, very informative, showed me a lot of history that I was unaware of, and it's made me more aware of the what I don't know. So with finding him, I'm pretty sure that it's going to open up a new door, information about who I really am, who my lineage is, and I'm excited to get started. I'm so happy to have found him, and I recommend him to anyone who may have hit a brick road, who is interested in, going a little bit further than they may have been able to get, or just to find out the truth about your ancestry. Contact him.
And send me an email with the subject line Black Native if you want to take a look at getting one of those genealogy consultations. Again, I'm not going to do your genealogy for you. I'm going to arm you with the knowledge and the tools so you can do it your damn self. Let's go.
As if they were freed people from some form of enslavement. I go into more detail about the census labels in the documentary that I'll link above right now. But I said all of that for a particular reason, and that is the official 1790 U.S. Census population count was a total of 3,929,214 people. But keep in mind that this total amount did not reflect millions of people who were indigenous to North America, aka Turtle Island, meaning they did not come from another continent, nor did it reflect the accurate total amount of so-called slaves in North America. Why? Well, the U.S. Census Agency themselves admitted to not possessing the majority of their official historical records of information that was allegedly documented between the 1790 U.S. Census and all the way up to the 1830 U.S. Census. And their excuse was to claim that these records were lost or destroyed somehow. See, this was all purposely done for two reasons. A, to hide the truth about the real history surrounding the U.S. and slavery. I mean, generally speaking, you can literally prove to yourself that your ancestors were slaves or not by documentation. You can check and see if your ancestors came off a boat. I've been sharing this.
Exactly. While mainstream media wants you to believe that you are nothing more than a descendant of a slave, when you research your family's genealogy, you may find something different, y'all. You may find something different. Matter of fact, when you research your family's genealogy, you might be like our good brother, Tracy Morgan, and you might find something different.
The people who I'll never meet and I've never met, but I feel like I've always known them.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I feel like they've always been in my life and they've guided me.
Comedian Tracy Morgan came to me expecting to learn about his enslaved ancestors, but Tracy was in for a surprise. Moving back on his mother's family tree, we came to his third great-grandfather, a man named Wiley Wharton. Wiley was an African-American born around 1817, but unlike most...
Come on. Born around 1817, foundational Black American. But let's see what Tracy learns when he does what? Not no DNA.
Hi, my name is Frances Tuck, and I contacted Mike from Mike TV on YouTube because I wanted to find out about my family's Native American history that I believed existed. Through the research that I was able to do through Mike TV, I was able to find out that our name is indeed on the registry. I had a consultation with Mike today, and because of his advice and the research that he has done, I am now confident that I'm able to find my family's roots in the Native American History database. Thank you, Mike.
Test swab. No, when he traces his family's genealogy.
The African Americans of his day, we found Wiley listed by name in the 1860 census, which can only mean one thing. Wiley was free.
Your ancestor
was in the tiny percentage of black people who got their freedom before the Civil War.
And look how the controlled opposition, this segment is funded by Ancestry.com, who wants you to pay for those DNAs. So it's controlled opposition, right? But we eat the meat and chewing out spitting out the bones. But peep how he has to throw in there part of the tiny percentage that was free. Okay, so who are you to say whether it was a small or large percentage that were free? Where are the sources that you were citing?
Which can only mean one thing. Wiley was free. Your ancestor was in the tiny percentage of black people who got their freedom before the Civil War.
And Tracy rocking that Farrakhan part. Nigga, I ain't never seen nobody other than Farrakhan rock that crazy ass part all the way to the back of their head. Tracy is rocking what I have now dubbed the the Farrakhan part.
My great grandfather was free.
He was free. Did you ever imagine that somebody in your family line was free before the Civil War, before the Emancipation Proclamation?
Before the Civil War, before the Emancipation, there was already free black folks here. We are foundational.
Good for you, Grandpa. You know, I could say that I'm so happy for my grandfather. I'm so happy that he didn't have to do all that suffering. I hope not. I'm glad he was free, because that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I know where it come from. I'm free when I'm on stage, I feel free. When I'm on stage doing my comedy, I feel free.
That's right. He said, now I know where it's come from. He ain't never felt like no damn descendant of no slaves, because he wasn't. He's a descendant of not a freed man, but a freeman.
I know it came from you.
Though Wiley was free, his family was not. We believe that his wife, Judy, Tracy's third great grandmother, was enslaved by a white man named James Medley. And as we scoured through the records that Medley left behind, we uncovered the birth record for Judy and Wiley's son, John.
Let's go ahead and get back into the reclassification. But ladies and gentlemen, I urge you to research your genealogy.
Information publicly for years now, along with my sources. And I still have not heard from anyone that used my instructions to trace their family that I have available on Amazon Prime and anywhere else books are sold, that one of their ancestors were documented as being a former slave. The people that reached out to me that has or is currently undergoing research on their family's history have not failed with discovering that their family members were either never enslaved and has always been free, or worked as
me coming into this consultation with Mike. I came off of really doing a lot of past information for myself. I was trying to connect the dots to see where my family did come from. Unfortunately, I hit a lot of roadblocks on the way. And with the consultation that I had today, it did open me up to a lot of knowledge and information that can help me with my journey to finding out where I definitely do come from. And I know a lot of genealogy is not really easy to kind of do. And Mike, you really opened up my eyes to a lot of things that I kind of knew about, but you got me to really see it in a different manner, or explain it in a way that kind of helped me understand the way to connect the dots that'll kind of help us really get to that next step in our genealogy. The consultation is definitely worth it. He really knows the stuff, and I would definitely recommend that you seek out a consultation.
an indentured servant for money, land ownership, business ownership, etc., and considered to be freedmen once their obligations of servitude expired. Make no mistake, when you hear the term freedman from now on, freedman does not necessarily mean that he or she was freed from enslavement, because it can also mean relieved from their duties in most commonly known cases. So this first reason to allegedly lose or destroy these records was to hide the truth that it was a very small amount of copper-colored slaves and a greater amount of prisoners of war in North America.
Let's talk about it. There were so many white European settler slaves, but they don't want to call them slaves. They want to call them indentured servants. But for us who are descendants of people who were sharecropper-esque indentured servants, Oh, no, 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 no. They were slaves. They were slaves. All right. All right. What black person you know is going to freely work on someone else's land and get whipped and beaten and not do nothing about it? Those that were subjugated to that revolted, rebelled, look up the Seminole Wars. And those that got along to get along, I think they were promised something. I think it was more of a contractual obligation. I think it was more employment at will.
And the second reason is B, to hide the truth about who are the real minority and majority in terms of the population count here in the United States of America. In which this brings me to my very next point. The biggest portion of their agenda was the abominable sabotaging of the indigenous Niji's history, legacy, languages, culture, and heritage systematically. So of course they couldn't pull this task off on their own. So they implemented a methodology format based solely on the scientific concepts of eugenics. According to the National Archives, the term eugenics was coined by a British natural scientist and explorer named Francis Galton in the year of 1883. Now, there are two sides to every coin, so I'll be sure to flip each side over, and I'm not theoretically speaking here. Eugenics was implemented to help improve one selected group of people and their future generations to come.
Yeah, let's get into the racist eugenics behind. Um, God, I mean, it was so interesting how they literally create fields of study and historical as well as scientific reasoning to back their racism. I mean, it's so crazy how their theory of evolution has to include God's favored races.
Many know about slavery, but few discuss paper genocide. We did not all come from Africa, and most of us have Aboriginal roots that were stripped away due to reclassification and miseducation. As a native Black American and a member of the Muskogee Creek Nation, I understand the importance of tracing your lineage. If you want to learn how to trace your genealogy and apply for tribal citizenship, go to nativeblackancestry.com to schedule a consultation.
They don't want you to remember this. You not no slave, you indigenous. Fuck how they painted them Indians. You went to war with the French and the British, man. Quite frankly, you was kings, Merovingians. They took the women and men, made them prisoners, raised up the children to worship their images, set up a lab to the genes and they mixed them, and this shit get way deeper than your pigment.
Quote unquote favored races and or Aryan races. Let's get into it.
To overtake and oversee yet another set group of people and their future generations by way of extermination of their mindsets. This rabbit hole goes much deeper than one may assume. Allow me to simplify the explanation of this paramount method utilized by the likes of your industrialized.
And I can't remember if I already thanked Big Hank for the Cash App earlier, but even if I did, thank you again, Big Hank, for supporting the broadcast.
Institutions throughout America still to this very day. Eugenics literally changes everything that any person was ever taught of or even thought of previously before this selection was carried out upon him or her. According to Francis Galton himself, this system would allow, quote, more suitable races or strains of blood a better chance of prevailing speedily over the less suitable, end quote. Galton was heavily influenced by the likes of an English naturalist, biologist, and the first ever self-proclaimed documented bigoted genealogist, Charles Darwin. Darwin single-handedly developed the controversial theory of human evolution, which was his belief that man came from monkeys, and then his system of natural selection, which included a heavy flux of racial derogatory.
Since 1859, that's when Charles Darwin introduced Origin of Species by natural selection and the favored human races. Did you know that today they only report half the title that Charles Darwin wrote? His title had to do with favored human races, assigning supremacy to the Aryan race, all others being inferior.
Yes, my consultation with Mike TV was on point. He was very thorough. He was very sincere, and he really knows what he's talking about, and he knows history. And I do feel comfortable that I met him and that I was able to do this consultation.